Hello again, everyone. It is season 3 of the Adam Jones podcast presented by the Baltimore Banner. I'm Jerry Coleman. He's the former 5-time All-Star and former Oriole Adam Jones. We have reached episode number 68, AJ, and we will be joined by the Vice President and General Manager of the Baltimore Orioles, the 2023 Executive of the Year in MLB. His name is Mike Elias. Adam and I will also talk about the addition of Craig Kimbrell, a guy that Mike Elias brought to this team and his worthiness in the history of baseball. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? I think we agree on that decision. In addition, we'll discuss Adam's plan to put on the uniform once again. No, he has retired as an Oriole. Mike can attest to that later in the podcast, but he's going to give it another try this spring and then play spectator in the summer. As always, we'll have a chance to win a $50 gift card, compliments of Lido Pizza, in our Socially Speaking segment. But first, as always, our featured guest brought to us by our friends at Jimmy's Famous Seafood. He is the VP and GM of the Baltimore Orioles. I guess I could say long time now. I mean, you're into what, 5 or 6 years, Mike? And you're making your debut on the Adam Jones podcast. We didn't have to wait that long, but it was worth the wait. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, good to see both of you guys. I'm glad to be on here. 5 years. Sometimes it feels like 50. Sometimes it feels like 5 minutes. So just depends on the day.
Well, the path for success is a road you have paved for this ball club already. Now, I want to know, are things moving at the pace that you anticipated when you took over the job over 5 years ago, or have they accelerated a bit?
You know, to be honest, I don't think any of us walked in at the end of 2018, with where not just the team, but the franchise was and said, hey, we're going to win the AL East in 100 games in 5 years. And then there's going to be a cancellation of the minor league season in the middle of it. So, we're happy with where we are as a franchise. I mean, anyone who follows the team can see the young talent and what was achieved last year. There's more on the way, and our capabilities. Adam was with us in spring training. We've got a very well-equipped operation from top to bottom. So I think we've got a lot of blue skies ahead of us as a franchise. That's what we're proud of. So we were very oriented towards process rather than, hey, we need to get back to the playoffs in 5 years. But it turns out that we did, and we're very happy about that.
I want to talk about, you said top to bottom, but you went bottom to top. I spoke with Ryan McKenna, who was a 15 draft pick, so I had got to know him a little bit. But I asked him what happened and what changed when Elias and Sid came in. And he said they worried about the bottom. They made sure that everything just started over. It's basically like growing fruit, growing some fresh watermelons. And can you please explain and tell us what does that really mean? Because I know that you rebuilt the entire system, but what goes into that?
I appreciate hearing that. I think that we were treating the project with the Orioles as almost like an expansion franchise because we had a bad record in 2018. We're coming off of that. We're in the American League East, which is an enormous hill to climb. And we were missing departments in the organization. The analytics department was basically non-existent. The international scouting and development department was basically non-existent. So those are two pretty big hands that had tied behind your back in 2018, 2019 in the American League East. So in order to reposition the whole franchise, we needed to kind of change the operating model of the franchise. Steered away from kind of a free agency oriented operation that worked for the Orioles in the 90s, but wasn't a very viable model in 2010s, 2020s, or 2020s wasn't going to be a viable model, and make it into a scouting and player development organization first and foremost again, which takes time. So, we rolled our sleeves up and started building the infrastructure, but at the same time, tried to pull in talent at the major league level too, waiver claims, small moves, a couple of free agents here and there. And, we were fortunate with some of the results.
Obviously, with some bad years, you get early picks, and you were able to garner some fantastic number one picks and some second round picks that turned out to be pretty good there also. But explain the draft process that you guys have went through without going into too much grave detail about how you go about drafting guys that you feel fit in the Orioles organization, because not everybody's a fit for certain organizations.
We're very, very passionate about the draft. My first job in baseball was as an area scout with the Cardinals, and Sig Meidel, our assistant GM, who's been on the show, I think, came up as a draft analyst. And so that's where we have built up the most of our experience. And because we've been spending so much time in the draft space, we've built up a little bit of a science of how to combine subjective scouting information, which is enormously important, with objective info that you get either from players' statistics or increasingly in the last 5 or 10 years, data that the technology provides about what they do on the field. And so we synthesize that info as best we can, kind of gives us a forecast for the future, but then we also really dive in and try to get to know the players personally, because we're big believers in makeup, which is the scouting term for kind of what goes on above the neck. So I would boil it down to, we have a lot of experience in the draft. We look for players that can play defense. Not always is that a priority, but it's something that we emphasize pretty strongly, and we try to be really specific about what we think they can do defensively. And then, on the position player side, we want guys that hit the ball hard and control the strike zone. And we go out and look for them. So it's something that we're going to continue to evolve as the game evolves. But I have a huge belief in the group of people that we have here working on the draft.
I know you enjoy being on the road. I mean, it's fun going and sitting in the minor league stands and going sitting in high school and college stands. But as you get to see that, are you able to still do the old school meetings where you're sitting with the parents and you're able to just get to know them, get to know the mom and dad, maybe the little sister, and get to know the families a little, like how it was back in the obviously pre analytics, and just I wouldn't say necessarily analytics, I'd say just pre technology. You don't have to necessarily be in every place at one time.
So when we had those high picks with the Orioles, I went and met with every one of them and most of their families individually. And when you're picking high, A, the pick's more important, but B, you can isolate, who's going to be there for you much more easily. So you got a menu of 5 or 6 guys. It's not that hard to go spend time with them. And we did, prioritize that pretty strongly. And I learned from my experience in Houston with the high picks there how important the player's makeup is. And so, we emphasize that now, like as we're picking lower in the rounds and either with the first pick or down the line, it becomes harder for me personally to do that. But that's where our scouts come in. And this scouting department, we have a lot of guys that are really good at gauging makeup, and we lean on them very heavily.
Mike, I wanted to ask you about the camaraderie inside the clubhouse. All three of us have seen it firsthand, you more than Adam and I. How much investigative work do you put into these personalities that all seem to mesh right now and come together? And have there been players in the past that you've said, no, this guy wouldn't fit in this type of environment?
Yeah, there's definitely been that. I mean, I'll be honest, I think a lot of it's luck. We go off of reputation that free agents have. And in my experience, it usually holds pretty true. If you kind of hear good things around the league, it tends to be the case. But I think the biggest thing is once you get a critical mass of good guys down there, then everyone else kind of falls into that culture. So we did have a lot of fortune with this, but it is something that we've emphasized, and particularly, even when we were rebuilding, the guys that we brought in to help with that, Iglesias or Chirinos or Robinson Chirinos or Jose Iglesias or Freddie Galvis and Jordan Lyles and Gibson and McCann and Frazier, and we've been pretty careful to bring in guys that we thought would be good mentors for the younger kids.
Well, there are certain things that unify this club. First and foremost, of course, is winning. But this Homer hydration station. How has this whole thing evolved? Was this done? I mean, back in the day, it was just a pie in the face from Adam Jones, maybe after the game. And now we had got this intricate system that apparently James McCann came up with. Did it need club approval?
It has my approval. I think it's a lot of fun. My recollection of it is, I don't know how they came up with the spitting, the water spitting that the starting pitchers did at the beginning of last year. But Kyle Gibson and those guys, they decided that's how we're going to celebrate extra base hits. And then I believe it was Cole Irvin, but somebody interacted with our marketing department or something like that and suggested that we have a group of fans that get sprayed when the pitchers are spitting. Stroke of genius, whoever came up with. I credit our marketing people and Cole, if I'm right about that. So I'm all for it. And, every year it seems like these teams are coming up with something new, but it just felt like we had something missed in the first couple of weeks of the season. So, count me as one that was happy to see the Homer hose back. And then I think this new contraption is taking it to another level. So you're not going to hear any complaints from me as long as they're hitting the home runs.
Oh, I think it's great what they're doing. All right. In Houston, you were part of a massive trade to get Justin Verlander over there. The timing of that trade happened, obviously, I believe 2017, and you guys won the World Series that year. 2016, I believe Houston was a very competitive team. 2022, fast forward, the Orioles, 2023, Orioles are, obviously fighting for the American League East. Fans the couch GMs, I should say, they want this guy, they want that guy. I think me and the podcast worlds, we were saying, the guy you guys see, Corbin Burns. What goes into in the timing of getting a big name guy such as a Burns, a Verlander, when you got him, when the contracts were obviously something that was a fixed number? Verlander was a high number, but it was a fixed number that you guys knew that you can fit into your budget. Same with Burns. What goes into something in the timing of getting a guy like that?
Something that it's very, very hard to get impact starting pitchers into your organization. It's hard to draft them. It's harder to develop them. It's even harder to keep them healthy. It's really hard to sign them. They're rightfully command big dollar contracts, but you can see in our game how difficult it is to keep pitchers healthy right now. And so, you don't have to have an ace, but it sure is nice when you do have one. And clearly that was a piece that our team could have used to, kind of help us get through this season and hopefully get us over the hump in the playoffs. And so we were looking for one. With our farm system, it was pretty clear to me that the easier path was going to be through trade, but I was really concerned about whether any impact starting pitchers were actually going to be put on the trade market. And as it turned out, it wasn't that many. And Corbin Burns was at the very top of the list from a talent standpoint. So we had some preliminary conversations with the Brewers. It wasn't clear to me whether they were going to trade him at all, but once they kind of got through their offseason moves and, you see the team that they have right now and the season that they're having, it was the right move for both sides to do that trade. And, we kind of waited it out. And once they decided to put them on to market, I knew with our farm system, with our the ability to have some guys that were big league ready to trade, which few teams have with Joey Ortiz and DL Hall, that we would be at the front of the line to trade for him. And once they decided to put him on the market, it came together pretty quickly. But I think the Houston experience kind of showed me if you've got a strong farm system, you got an inside track on bringing one of these guys in. And it's not easy to do that. And, if you have that opportunity, it's a good idea.
We've got much more to get to with Orioles VP and GM Mike Elias, our exclusive here on the Adam Jones podcast. But first, go out and support these sponsors as they support this podcast.
The Adam Jones podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Weinman Company. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. more. Just search for BetParks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. And for a limited time, 21 and over Adam Jones podcast listeners can get a $75 gift card to Greenmount Station simply for opening a new account with promo code GMS and a minimum $50 initial deposit. $75 gift card for new users in Maryland only. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Adam Jones podcast is brought to you by Jimmy's Famous Seafood, Charm City's favorite crab cake destination. Local sports fan, experience the ultimate pregame party at the tailgate. Cheer on the Ravens with iconic live performances, an open bar, and mouth-watering eats. Can't make it? No worries. Bring the same food that caught the attention of the Food Network right to your doorstep. Shipping East Coast recipes nationwide. Jimmy's Famous Seafood is the official sponsor of the guests appearing on the Adam Jones podcast.
Play the Maryland Lottery. Because fun looks good on you. Right now, play our exciting new multiplier scratch-offs for a chance to win up to $2 million.
Come and get your fun. Come and get your fun.
If you received ERC funds, listen closely. The IRS has 10 years to audit your claim, but you only have until March 22nd to get taxpayer relief, and the clock is ticking. If you're losing sleep over a possible audit, we'll review your claim. If you made a filing error, we'll set things right. If you're being audited, we'll provide expert representation. The IRS Voluntary Disclosure Program ends March 22nd. You deserve peace of mind. Visit SaveMyERC.com to schedule a consultation today. That's SaveMyERC.com. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time. There are a lot of ways to make whiskey, but there's only one way to make Jack Daniels. At Jack Daniels, they charcoal mellow every drop, only using water from Cave Spring Hollow in Tennessee. When you make your own label, you make everything else yours too. But we don't need to tell you that, do we? Make it count. Jack Daniels. Please drink responsibly. Tennessee whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. 2022. Jack Daniels. All rights reserved. The Adam Jones podcast welcomes Relief Shop. Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu, located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week. Only at Relief Shop.
Your fun awaits at Hollywood Casino Perryville. Feed the whole crew with something for everyone, from cheesesteaks to crab cake sandwiches. Plus, ask how you can get a $15 dining credit. Get in on the gaming action with the hottest slots and your favorite table games like blackjack, roulette, and poker. Free live shows every Friday and Saturday. Come experience non-stop fun and excitement only at Hollywood Casino Perryville.
Hey, you work hard, I work hard, and we all like to save money. That's why we need the Royal Farms ROFO Rewards app to get more value for our hard-earned money. With the app, you earn royalty points on every purchase, can place mobile orders for quick pickup, plus a discount at the gas pump with ROFO Pay. We all like to save money, and with the ROFO Rewards app, we do.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
It's the perfect time to check out a spacious and reliable new Toyota SUV, like a RAV4. With available all-wheel drive and plenty of cargo space, you'll go from errands to adventures in no time. Plus, available features like wireless charging will keep you connected. Or check out a Highlander with seating for up to 8. It's a hub for family adventure. Your Toyota dealer is getting new vehicles in stock regularly, so don't wait. Find deals on a RAV4 or Highlander at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
We are far from done with our conversation with Orioles VP and GM Mike Elias right here on the Adam Jones podcast. In fact, let's get back to it now. All right, speaking of contracts, it's just you and I talking here right now, Mike. What's the deal with your contract? I don't care about how much money you're making. I think I speak on behalf of all of Birdland. They want to know how long is Mike Elias. How long is Mike Elias going to be around? It's like a closely guarded secret. We just don't know what the end game is here. We'd love to keep you here forever. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I hope forever. I've been, very careful, not only with my own, but the people that are here working here. It's my opinion that it's not helpful for that information to be out there. Adam, you could speak to it better than me, but 2018, everybody knew that the leadership was expiring, and I think that's tough for the players. And on the flip side, you just don't know what the dynamics are going to be. And my belief is whether it's our manager or our scouting director or our AAA third base coach, everyone here has our 100% support and freedom to do their jobs while they're here. And I don't want people knowing the contract statuses of our employees in baseball ops if they don't have to. So I think it's a personal opinion on that. But we have a really good thing going. We got a lot of people that are working really well together. Everybody that I can tell loves it here, and this group of players and staff. And we're really excited about the new group that has come in to invest in the team. So we're going to keep this going and together as long as we can.
I love that because, as a player, we just want to know that they're going to be around next year. You don't care about all the details. But I want to talk about extensions. You've been a part of some, none in Baltimore yet. Not yet. But explain to me how that starts. Is it the owner who comes to the team? Or is it the agent who presents it? Or is it the player who says, hey, what's up?
In my prior job with the Astros, I was scouting, international scouting, player development, the draft. I had zero involvement with major league contracts. And so this was all relatively new to me, taking over the Orioles job. And kind of like what I was saying with the staff contracts, this is not something that, I feel is beneficial for me to be noisy about, because when these conversations, if they're happening, if it gets into the media, we've seen this in other sports, it can give the story a life of its own and make the outcome a little bit more difficult. So it's something that we look at. It's not the easiest thing to line up on with the way the business works nowadays. But, you look at our team right now, and there are obviously players that if you're the Orioles, you look at how long they're under contract for, and you go, boy, I wish we had these guys longer, and we love them. And so we're aware of that. And it's something that our group works on quietly in the background, but I'm not out feeding this information publicly. What we've done or haven't done or tried or haven't tried, I'm very cagey about it. If it comes out publicly, maybe I'll address it at that time, but it's not going to be from me. And it's important to me that the players and their agents know that that's going to be the case.
I like that.
Yeah, that warehouse is pretty leak proof. I put out a tweet, I think a week ago, just saying you were going to have a press conference. And I heard something back saying it's not a grand announcement. It's just an update, Jerry. So I had to reel it in.
Yeah, it's tough. We're in an entertainment business. There's fans. People want to know stuff. I get it, but we're trying to win. And sometimes having this information swirling out there doesn't help with that. So, that's my job is to win. And so I'm going to prioritize that part of it.
All right, I backed into news down in Sarasota. I just happened to be eating with a friend at a certain hotel when you and Brandon and David Rubenstein and John Angelos all walked in for a gathering, caught me off guard. Was that the first time you had met with David Rubenstein? And what has this transition been like for you, Mike?
Yeah, that was my first in-person meeting with him. We talked a little bit like this, so over camera after the sale came through. But it was great. He's a really smart, funny guy. Obviously, enormous accomplishments in the world. Just a perfect fit for this position and this franchise. Being a Baltimore native and a Maryland guy and everything, is somebody that's, I think really the perfect person. I'm going to use our marketing phrase, but this next chapter, he's great. So we're Brandon and I have really enjoyed our interactions thus far. I think the whole group that he's brought in is really impressive, top to bottom. And I think one thing that's been unusual is the time of year. I think they took control literally on opening day. I'm guessing that's pretty rare. So there's not, in April, there's not a ton to do except just watch the team play and manage the roster on a day-to-day basis. It's not like it's a big trade season. It's definitely not a big it's not a free agent season at all. So in some ways, it's a good way for everyone to ease into this, together. And we've kept in regular contact, and they're at the ballpark a lot, which is cool.
For people that don't know, players were 1 to 2 to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. What's a day in the life of Mike Elias?
I would describe it, when I worked in amateur scouting in my first job, it felt like a sprint. And it was a sprint from about February to Thanksgiving. And then you would get a couple of quiet months. Being a GM feels like like you're running at a 6-minute mile pace all the time, unless you're asleep. And so it's not quite a sprint. It's not a jog. But you can never, there's just baseball going on in about 6 different time zones, actually more than that, across the world at all the times. There's box scores, there's things that pop up. The off season in the wintertime in many ways is faster than certain parts of the season. Honestly, here in April is maybe one of the slower months of the year because there's not a whole lot really to do other than just manage the team on a day-to-day basis. So it's just a lot of being engaged with your phone, and anytime your phone makes any kind of noise, checking it as quickly as possible to make sure there's not an emergency somewhere or something that you need to act on. It's very invigorating, but it's definitely takes over your entire existence, and I think it can be tough on families because of that. But my wife's been in baseball with me. For 17 years now almost, and she's great about it. And it's definitely not anything to complain about. I mean, I'm very, very, very blessed to be working in sports and baseball in particular, but it's I don't have any hobbies or anything else. This is all I do.
Hey, as far as working with Cal Ripken Jr., I guess he's technically your boss right now. Does he have any desires? He expressed any, optimism in being a part of decision-making when it comes to personnel or something of that nature? Or is he going to stand back and watch you do the excellent job you've been doing the last 5+ years?
Well, he's a great resource for us. I mean, I've known him well since stepping in here, and we've been talking for 5 or 6 years, and that's obviously increased, since him coming on board. I think it's a great thing for our franchise to have him on an official basis back in the fold. And he doesn't live too far from here, and it's a great presence for fans and players and for us. And so I think there are a lot of things that his perspective, both as just a former great player, but in specific a former great Oriole and somebody that understands our market and our organization, that his opinion is very helpful to me. So we're using that, and it's nice to have that on an official basis.
In this great world of, who do you know? Who's your guy that you go to, or gal that you go to for advice? It's a tough game. It's a tough business. It's a tough job. But who do you go to when it's like, I just need to talk to somebody?
It's really hard, and that's a good question, because when you're in a position like this, and kind of in charge of a company or anything where you're basically the number one, it's hard to get input from people that don't have their own little angle on things, and so oftentimes, I will get counsel, family members, spouse. There are people that I'm friends with that work elsewhere in the industry. You get your owner's input on a lot of decisions. And Sig Meidel, who's our number 2 in baseball ops, and Eve Rosenbaum, who's our assistant GM as well. I lean on pretty heavily. But I found that getting really good advice from a number of different angles is really, really valuable in something as complex as decision making at this level, and it can be tricky.
Well, we know that Ravens GM Eric DaCosta has the utmost respect for you and Sig and the job that you guys do and the patience that you guys demonstrate, because he's told us that where he doesn't have the patience that you guys have, as he told us. I did want to ask you in conclusion here, gambling in sports has become a hot topic across the spectrum, whatever sport it is. I know it's something I guess you guys as a ball club address during spring training, but is it something you have to reinforce throughout the season as we see these scandals, spike up, especially in football and the NBA right now? And of course, we know about Ohtani's interpreter.
Jerry, this is a topic that I don't spend a lot of time thinking about. This is not something that is on my radar screen. I stay as far away from it as humanly possible as you're the GM of the team. But I know that Major League Baseball undergoes a lot of efforts to educate players and staff of the seriousness of this and the rules of it. And, we carry out their guidance on that front, whether it's spring training or throughout the year. So, we have a ton of very high character people in this building right now. And that goes all the way down through the clubhouse and the players. And, it's not something that someone in my position spends time worrying about on a day-to-day basis. We're focused on our jobs, but I think it's something that the sports world in general is entering a new era with. And, probably the leagues have to grapple with, the best way to keep guardrails in place against this without it sort of taking over everyone's day-to-day.
Mike, agree and appreciate your time here for being on the podcast. It took a while, but we landed you, and hopefully it was a safe landing for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I wanted to make sure we had a closer and an ace acquired before I did any interviews.
It took time. Yeah, it took time. One thing I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that you had a spring training. It's a couple weeks into the season. Now there's nothing that's going on your plate yet, but there's going to be.
Yeah, we're having fun watching this team, and I hope everybody stays healthy and keeps working hard. And we're really proud of these guys so far.
Yeah, it's been fun. Well, I've been texting with Sanders, and it's been great.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's keep it moving here on the Adam Jones podcast. Thanks again to Mike Elias. It's our For the Birds segment, a local look sponsored by the Maryland Lottery. Hey, when you play the Maryland Lottery, folks, set limits. Never play when you're stressed and know your odds of winning. To learn more, simply visit mdlottery.com/play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to play, just like Adam and I. And just like Craig Kimbrell. Is he a Hall of Famer, AJ? The numbers certainly dictate that as we record. He's closing in on 7th on the all-time saves list, although I think they're still looking for that ball in Kansas City. Poor Cowser threw that ball in the fountain. Has that ever happened to you, by the way, where you threw away a baseball?
They found it. Yeah, I mean, things like that happen from time to time. Players don't know. Players are going through things. I mean, Cowser doesn't understand that, that this guy over here that he's playing with is maybe going to the Hall of Fame. But personally, I think, yes, he might get the Lee Smith treatment and the fact that he's worn a lot of hats. You play for a lot of organizations. People tend to sometimes maybe devalue that as to why didn't you stick with one place for so long. But me, Hall of Famer. You're talking about 400 saves when, especially in an era where they don't care about pitching. Just, finish the game and just win the game. If we can win the game, we can just win the game. This guy is still a fixture in the 9th inning. He owns the 9th inning. He understands the 9th inning. He knows how to get the 27th out. As well as 7 people in the history of this game. Him and Kenley Jansen, I think, are Hall of Famers, and they're 2 of the last of a dying breed of closers.
You think Kimbrell will be first? Will he be first ballot?
First ballot, I believe he is personally. But again, if it's not, it's because he's going to probably get the Lee Smith treatment.
Yeah.
What team does he go on? So that might be a thing. Is he's played on everywhere in the United States, so people might want to go on that. I think that's BS. I think the numbers speak for itself. I mean, you take a look at the strikeouts per 9. That's one of the highest all time, if not the best of any reliever, especially over the span. I mean, you can go for a short span. You can find a lot of people that did it over a week or a month. This guy has done it over, going on 14, 15 years. So to me, I believe so, but I don't have a vote. But a lot of people have weird reasons why they don't vote for Hall of Famers. Some of them because he didn't shake his hand or sign the ball for his kid. But to me, Craig Kimbrell and Kenley Jansen are both Hall of Famers.
Well, of course, the only guy who's been unanimous was a reliever in Mariano Rivera, and deservedly so. Back to Kimbrel, though. He's got one of the wildest windups I've ever seen. When you faced it for the first time, what do you recall about facing that for the first time?
It was in, I think it was like 2010, maybe 2010 or 11 or something like that. We went down to Atlanta, maybe 10 or 11 something, and I remember getting to face him. And I mean, you watch the video on him, and you know that he's wiping out everybody else, so he's about to wipe you out too. But seeing it, you see the low arm angle, but the ball just stays true, and it's like the ball that actually rises. And it's now obviously the ball doesn't rise; it just stays the plane the entire time. Gravity doesn't fight it, and you know he's been dominant. And I got to see him in Boston. And again, you know that you got to put a battle together because he attacks the zone with two great pitches. And now I see he's learning the changeup. I mean, if you can learn that, that's the thing is, you know, his fastball's not playing at 98, 99 like it was. His slider doesn't break like, 2 feet like it did. But he's still effective. How? It's because he knows what he's doing. He still knows how to put the ball, knows when to throw the slider. And then now he's got a combo. See, that's the thing. That's how you stay around an extra year, an extra 2 years. Look at Will Smith. He's staying around an extra year. Like guys like that, they figure it out and they stay around an extra year.
That's smart. And we look forward to having Craig on the podcast one of these days. He can put that on his bucket list just before he gets into Cooperstown. All right, let's move beyond Baltimore, where you reside, our national and usually international perspective, brought to you by our friends at Relief Medical Marijuana Dispensary, where they go above and beyond to help you, the patient. You may need some relief after taking that body through at least one game this spring. You went through one in Seattle last year at the All-Star game. That was a softball game at the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So MLB has a pair of games in store. First is May 25th, the Hall of Fame East-West Classic. That's going to feature more than 24 former major leaguers, including you in Cooperstown. How are you preparing for that game? I know you're going to be on Chris Young's team. I saw the draft, but what position are you playing? Is it just going to be center field? And again, this is baseball, not softball.
Oh, I'm playing center field, and I'm going to be spelled by Miss Monday Davis, who is probably a better center fielder than me at this point. But I'm practicing out here in Spain with the Spanish and the Catalan teams, so the same boy team. And,
Send us some video.
I'll see you some video. I'm back out there, getting my body out there. It hurts. We're going to need all of the foam rollers, all of the guns that thermo ice, hyper ices, and all that kind of stuff. We need everything. It's going to be painful, but then we got golf the next day. But the beauty of it's a 1:00 game. We can rest up, get out at there and, get some dinner in the city. It's going to be hopefully a nice evening. But to be out there amongst my peers, the East-West game, bringing back the Negro Leagues that they used to do so many times, and it's going to be great. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. It's going to be great for the families, for the kids, especially a lot of the kids who haven't seen their parents necessarily play. Yep. And it's just going to be great to be back in one great environment. And
you get to face CC Sabathia at least one last time.
I can't wait.
That's all you're saying.
I can't wait. He knows
it.
Oh, he knows. Oh, he knows I can't wait. No, he knows. No prediction. No, because again, I haven't seen velocity. He ain't got much velocity left, but at the same time, there's still two trains running against each other. So
what about your exit velocity? Yeah.
Exit velocity and sprint speed are two things to pay attention to.
Then comes June, and you'll be attending, not playing at the MLB Rickwood Classic, which is going to take place in a field that opened back in the 1900s in Montgomery, Alabama. Pretty cool.
Yeah. It's going to be Birmingham, and it's going to be great.
Birmingham.
It's going to be great because this is another project spearheaded by CC Sabathia. Again, I think he's going to be a future commissioner, but it's spearheaded another project by him because he wants to give back to the African Americans who paved the way. And this place is not just for African Americans, honestly. Rickwood has hosted almost 75% of the Hall of Famers at some point in time, Black, white, Hispanic. Some point in time have played at Rickwood. So it's a historic place for baseball in general and the baseball lovers. And we're honoring Willie Mays. It's going to be great. It's going to be the Giants versus the Cardinals, and it's going to be a great event. We're going to do a softball game on Juneteenth, and it's just going to be such a terrific event. We're going to have celebrities out there playing. I might play in the softball game. I'm playing shortstop in this game, though. So it's going to be a little bit different atmosphere, but it's going to be such a great time and giving back and going down there and supporting the South, supporting the roots of baseball down in the South. And, everything's going to be local. I can't wait to have some barbecue and be licking my fingers and stuff like that. It's gonna be,
of course you're going to be. So we got two great events, one in the North, one in the South, coming up in the spring and summer, respectively, courtesy of the MLB.
Who won?
Let's move forward to our socially speaking segment. This is the portion where we answer an X post or any type of social media post, and you get a chance to enter for a $50 gift card. Compliments Alita Pizza, the proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. You can find us on social media at Adam Jones Pod on the X, on the Gram, and also Facebook for you old-timers, or you can email us if you're completely challenged, theadamjonespod@gmail.com. So after Cedric Mullins had that tremendous catch against the Twins last week, Jimmy from the Dina at Jim from the Dina on X asked AJ, where is this in your top center field catches? We both have Gary Matthews Jr. at the top. Mullins caught that 3 feet off the ground and had to slide. Love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, that's fantastic catch. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. I mean, I don't think anything to me is still going to rank above Gary Matthews Jr.'s catch, just because, I mean, what? But unbelievable. And Cedric has been playing tremendous defense since day one. And it's been a blessing to watch it. It's been a blessing to see the reins hand over properly, especially on the defensive end. Hitting is a completely different dynamic. It's hard, but he's had some fantastic years doing that. But the defensive side, Orioles fans have not had to worry about the center field position for a long time. It's been very good in Gold Glove caliber. I think he's a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. I was able to take a few from some people. Corey Patterson was a damn good center fielder. Brady, and obviously there's some guys in between the Brady and Corey Patterson. So there's a few guys. But then obviously with Devereaux and it goes back to Blair and like in Bunbury, like center field has been on the lock for a long time. And hopefully, he maintains this all year, stays healthy, and is able to bring home a Gold Glove, because it's I would love to deliver it to him, because this is a great, fantastic achievement. So his defense is shown out every day that I've watched it. Hopefully he continues it, and hopefully he's recognized for it. Yeah,
we can't omit the great Willie Mays against Vic Wirtz. We all know about that. That was well before our time, but not our producer, Chip Franklin. He knows a lot about that. He was 45 years old when he was at that game. We got to run. We want to thank our sponsors. Please go out and support the following, because they make this podcast possible.
The Adam Jones Podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Weinman Company. Everyone knows Greenmount Station in Hampstead, but did you know that at Greenmount Station you can bet 7 days a week just like you're at the track? With in-person teller windows and state-of-the-art touchscreen kiosks. And with Greenmount Station's brand new Bet Park Sportsbook, you can bet on all other sports as well, wherever you are in Maryland. Spreads, money lines, live bets, props, parlays, and teasers. The Bet Parks Maryland mobile app is now live for Apple and Android devices, so you'll never miss your next big score. Just search for BetParks MD in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. And for a limited time, 21 and over Adam Jones podcast listeners can get a $75 gift card to Greenmount Station simply for opening a new account with promo code GMS and a minimum $50 initial deposit. $75 gift card for new users in Maryland only. 21 and over only. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Adam Jones podcast is brought to you by Jimmy's Famous Seafood, Charm City's favorite crab cake destination. Local sports fan? Experience the ultimate pregame party at the tailgate. Cheer on the Ravens with iconic live performances, an open bar, and mouth-watering eats. Can't make it? No worries. Bring the same food that caught the attention of the Food Network right to your doorstep. Shipping East Coast recipes nationwide. Jimmy's Famous Seafood is the official sponsor of the guests appearing on the Adam Jones podcast.
Play the Maryland Lottery, because fun looks good on you. Right now, play our exciting new multiplier scratch-offs for a chance to win up to $2 million.
If you received ERC funds, listen closely. The IRS has 10 years to audit your claim, but you only have until March 22nd to get taxpayer relief, and the clock is ticking. If you're losing sleep over a possible audit, we'll review your claim. If you made a filing error, we'll set things right. If you're being audited, we'll provide expert representation. The IRS Voluntary Disclosure Program ends March 22nd. You deserve peace of mind. Visit SaveMyERC.com to schedule a consultation today. That's SaveMyERC.com. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time. There are a lot of ways to make whiskey, but there's only one way to make Jack Daniels. At Jack Daniels, they charcoal mellow every drop, only using water from Cave Spring Hollow in Tennessee. When you make your own label, you make everything else yours too. But we don't need to tell you that, do we? Make it count. Jack Daniels. Please drink responsibly. Tennessee whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. 2022. Jack Daniels. All rights reserved. The Adam Jones Podcast welcomes Relief Shop. Shop, Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu, located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week, only at Relief Shop.
Your fun awaits at Hollywood Casino Perryville. Feed the whole crew with something for everyone, from cheesesteaks to crab cake sandwiches. Plus, ask how you can get a $15 dining credit. Get in on the gaming action with the hottest slots and your favorite table games like blackjack, roulette, and poker. Free live shows every Friday and Saturday. Come experience non-stop fun and excitement only at Hollywood Casino Perryville.
Hey, you work hard, I work hard, and we all like to save money. That's why we need the Royal Farms ROFO Rewards app to get more value for our hard-earned money. With the app, you earn royalty points on every purchase, can place mobile orders for quick pickup, plus a discount at the gas pump with ROFO Pay. We all like to save money, and with the ROFO Rewards app, we do.
Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
It's the perfect time to check out a spacious and reliable new Toyota SUV, like a RAV4. With available all-wheel drive and plenty of cargo space, you'll go from errands to adventures in no time. Plus, available features like wireless charging will keep you connected. Or check out a Highlander with seating for up to 8. It's a hub for family adventure. Your Toyota dealer is getting new vehicles in stock regularly, so don't wait. Find deals on a RAV4 or Highlander at buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, thanks to senior executive producer Chip Franklin for putting this episode together. Chip is the silent partner who you just can't shut up, but we love him anyway. Go out and subscribe to the Baltimore Banner. Until next time, be real, be kind, and make sure to be back for next week's episode of the Adam Jones Podcast.